Aloha everyone, my name is Hunter Nekomoto, and today I'll go over my senior capstone proposal presentation. My project name is The Digital Enemy, and it goes over the topic of video game addiction. So some background about myself, my name is Hunter. I graduated from Temple High School in 2020, and then I later went to Lever Community College for my associates in science under the specialty digital media production under digital video for the web, and then later now I transferred to West Oahu, where I am under the creative media program studying communications and new media technologies. Just go over a executive summary. It goes over plans for my senior project. I'll go over my thesis statement, my objective rationale of the research that I conducted, and then I'll address my significance and propose my project using my research. Going over my thesis statement. While video games can be a positive form of entertainment, excessive gaming among adolescents can have negative effects such as physical, mental, and social consequences that can detract from a balanced and healthy lifestyle. And going over some of my objective and rationale for my research that I conducted. I chose the topic of video game addiction because, I chose the topic of video game addiction because I personally have gone through the experience myself, and I lost a lot of the years of my teenage years and high school years from video games. I spent a lot of playing a lot of competitive video games such as shooters and some rhythm games. And this sparked my passion for this topic. At first, when I started doing this project, before doing my research, I believed that all video games have an overall negative effect and are just not good to play at all. But after conducting research, I believe that video games are still important with the right amount of moderation and supervision if you're younger. My objective is to give overall insight to adolescents, parental figures, and even teachers about the overlooked topic of video games and how it can be detrimental for these adolescents due to them being at such a crucial age where they're still developing mentally, socially, and physically. So my overall plans for my capstone is I plan to present a social media campaign that will go over a list of series of videos and informative posts on Instagram, going over these certain highlights within video game addiction, whether it be interviews firsthand with people that have a video game addiction, some overall image posts of the highlights and statistics of video game addiction, preventive care to combat said addiction, and sources that are, if you think you have addiction, you can reach out to for help. Because at the end of the day, I don't want people to think they're self-diagnosed with video game addiction. At the end of the day, I want people to get the help that they need. This can be within the relationship of my research due to it being heavily related to the topics of the primary sources that I've researched, and what makes certain video games addictive, and the preventive measures you should take. I'll go over the significance of my project. Going over number 1, evolution of gaming. Due to adolescents being such a fragile age where they're still learning about a lot of themselves, and are at a stage where they eventually have to take up new responsibilities and grow up. Video games can be an outlet for many of these adolescents, for them to escape reality and stray away from responsibilities. And within the evolution of gaming and technology, I feel like these video games will just get more and more addictive for these adolescents, and without any preventative care, it can be extremely detrimental to their growth as a child to an adult, or adolescent to an adult. And my future implications go over the evolution of technology and how video games are only going to get more advanced, which will keep video game popularity increasing and get a lot more of these adolescents hooked onto gaming. Moving on to data, I chose these 2 graphs. On the left, it goes over a popular game throughout the years or even decade that has always retained popularity within the PC gaming community. It is a game called Counter-Strike, and as you can see, even for being up for around 12 to 13 years, you can see it still has a lot of gamers playing, and even now at a higher peak than it was 10 years ago. And on the right side, you can see numbers of PC gamers over time. It shows from 2008 to 2024, the amount of gamers that have either got onto PCs to play video games or have a PC that have to play these video games. As you see, it's just getting more popular over the years. And then 2, for my significance, is addictive properties within certain designs of these video games that promotes a lot of disguised gambling. This can be seen with a lot of video games with loot boxes or seasonal deals, which can be linked to the said gambling and creating a FOMO or fear of missing out to adolescents. These loot boxes can usually be either paid with real cash or by earned by completing the missions in game. Having these properties can allow these players to get hooked onto playing more video games and even spending money for these in-game rewards. Future implications can be to create more stricter laws or acts to prevent said gambling, or force verification to show that a user is legal and in a legal state for gambling and at a legal age. Second is to find for these bigger companies to find different ways to implement a reward system that is less addictive. Moving on to the data, this is mainly microtransactions and other content sold rather than the game. So a lot of like DLCs, downloadable content, stuff like that. Left is from EA, also known as Electronic Arts, showing their content sales from the years 2018 to 2024. And on the right, it's Sony and Nintendo. It's game software, add-on content, services, and subscriptions. And as you can see, it's all more getting popular over the years. And these are just mainly based on these microtransactions and other content sold that's not the game itself. Moving on to my target audience. For my target audience, I chose adolescents ages 12 to 17, parental figures of adolescents, and even schools. I chose this target audience because I wanted to create both content for both of the, both sides of content for kids and adults. So for parental figures or school administrators, I want them to inform them about the preventive care for video game addiction. And even like for schools, I would like to, maybe someone resonates with the campaign heavily enough where they get the initiative to teach about it in schools. And on the other hand, I'd like to create short form Instagram reels to allow these younger audiences that want to try to take the initiative and information to prevent themselves about the topic themselves. Moving on to my proposed solution. I propose to create a social media campaign about video game addiction where it can create awareness for adolescents and adults to take the preventive care needed. My preparation and process, I plan to do my pre-production my first 4 weeks to gather just basically some information I need, what videos I want to pursue, like the styles I want to create, and find the equipment I need to film, edit, and shoot with. And then lastly, I would need to create the account that I'll use for the last 5 weeks of posting. For my production, I want to create a proper way to split the content where it's easily retainable. I want it to be not like mixed up content. I want it to be all in a way flows properly, like each week that I post on, having a seamless feel to it without needing to have extra content needed to know what I'm talking about. And then for my final last weeks, my post-production, I plan to basically just use Instagram features such as stories to update my followers. Plan to use hashtags to promote my content. I'll also try to find a consistent uploading schedule for the 5 weeks. I plan to upload 3 times a week, 2 regular posts per week, and then 1 reel per week, leading up to 15 posts in total. So going over my deliverables, I took heavy inspiration from account Talk Lemon. It's just something you give over basically self-help care and in a trendy way. And they both produce posts and reels at the same time that are very informative. And then my next deliverable is for my actual post, I took inspiration from these. I want my post to have like a big header with a lot more information, and having slides you can go through where you can find the sources you need, and have a lot of more open outlets for these users to find more information to help themselves. And then for my reels, I plan to make it a lot more trendier, like the more trendy YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and like Instagram Reels method, with big captions and a lot more fast paced. So I also plan to leave like links in my bio to content or sources that may be helpful for users. This concludes my presentation. Thank you all for your time, and feel free to ask any questions.